Hi everyone, welcome to Career Talks. In this video, we will analyze the PIB of 31st December 2020, which cover the syllabus of UPSC Prelims and Mains for 2021. So, the first PIB is Cabinet approved the export of Akash missile system and create a committee for faster approval of Akash missile. Okay, so note that the India is growing its capability for manufacturing wide variety of defense platform and missiles, and Akash is one of them. And Akash is country important missile with over 96% Indianization. Okay, and the initiative of this committee would help, cabinet would help the country to improve its defense product and make them globally competitive. Okay, and you should note that the export version of Akash will be different from the system currently deployed with IAF, Indian Armed Forces. Okay. Akash is a short-range surface-to-air missile system to protect the vulnerable areas and the vulnerable point from air attacks. And the Akash weapon system engage multiple targets in group mode or autonomous mode, and it has built-in ECCM features. ECCM means electronic counter and the countermeasures, and the entire weapon system has been configured on mobile platform, and the Akash weapon system has been inducted and is operational with the IAF, Indian Air Force, and the Indian Army. And what are the key points of the Akash missile system? Akash missile is capable of engaging aerial threats up to the distance of approximately 25 km. Akash missile have a multi-target, multi-directional, and all-weather air defense system consisting of surveillance, tracking radars, and could take off at the speed of 2.5 Mach. The missile were tested, fired against a PTA, pilotless target aircraft, UAV, unmanned aerial vehicle, and the parabarrel twice. And the missile is guided by the phased array fire control radar, which is known as a Rajendra, which is a battery level radar, which with the tracking range of 60 km, and it was developed under the IGMDP, Integrated Guided Missile Development Program. And note that the Akash can fly at supersonic speed ranging from the Mach 2.8 to 3.5. And this is the diagram of the Akash missile system, and you can read it here. You can read it here that it is a surface-to-air missile system and was one of the 5 core missile system of the Integrated Guided Missile Development Program, launched in India in 1983. Okay. So, and then our second PIB is Cabinet approve opening of 3 Indian mission in Estonia, Paraguay, and Dominican Republic. Okay, so what is the implementation strategy of these 3 Indian missions? Opening of these 3 Indian missions in this country will help expand India diplomatic footprint and the deepen political relations and enable growth of bilateral trade, investment, economic engagement, and the etc. And the India mission in these countries will also better assist the Indian community and protect their interest. So what is the objective of these 3 Indian missions? The objective of our foreign policy is to build a conducive environment for India's growth and development through the partnership with the friendly countries. And these are presently mission and post across the world, which serve as a conduit of our relation with partner countries. Okay, the decision of these 3 Indian mission is forward looking up a step to Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas, and this would also help a direct impact in augmenting our goal of self-reliant India or a Atmanirbhar Bharat. So let's see about the Estonia and where it is. So Estonia officially, the Republic of Estonia is a country on the eastern coast of Baltic Sea in the northern Europe. You can see here the diagram of Estonia. You can see here the map of Estonia. Okay, and it is bordered to the north by the Gulf of Finland. It is bordered by the Gulf of Finland. You can see here the Gulf of Finland and the Baltic Sea, the Gulf of Riga, the Lake Peipus, and the Lake Peskoy. Okay, and to the west it is surrounded by the Baltic Sea across from Sweden, and to the south by the Latvia, and to the east by the Lake Peipus and the Russia. Okay, then the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic is a country located on the island of Hispaniola and in the Greater Antilles of Archipelago of Caribbean region, and it occupies the eastern 5/8 of the island, which it shares with Haiti. Haiti is an, you can see here is a Haiti, and At the north side the Atlantic Ocean and the south side is the Caribbean Sea से surrounded है, आप यहाँ से देख सकते हैं. Okay, and you can pause the video and you can read it properly. Okay, the third Indian mission, that is Paraguay. Paraguay, officially the Republic of Paraguay, is a country in the South America, and it is bordered by Argentina to the south or southwest, and Brazil to the east or northeast, and Bolivia to the northwest. You can see on the map too, Argentina, here is a Bolivia and Brazil. Okay, and although one of only two landlocked country in the South America, okay, and the country has the coast, beaches and port on the Paraguay and the Paraná River that give exit to the Atlantic Ocean through the Paraná Paraguay waterway. Okay, so these are the three Indian missions, and we analyze the what is the implementation strategy and the objective. Okay. Then our third PIV is Cabinet approves the deepening and optimization of inner harbor facility, including development of Western Dock on Build, Operator and Transfer BOT basis under the Public-Private Partnership PPP mode. Okay, so in this PIV, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, which is chaired by Prime Minister of India Sri Narendra Modi, has approved the project deepening and the optimization of inner harbor facilities, including development of Western Dock on Build, Operate and Transfer under the basis of PPP model. Okay, PPP model at Paradip Port. Okay, so what is the background of Paradip Port? Okay, Paradip Port Trust is a major port under Government of India and administered under the Major Port Trust Act 1963, was commissioned in 1966. Okay, in the last 54 years, the port has transferred itself to handle a variety of exim cargoes, which include iron ore, chrome ore, okay, aluminium ingots, coal, POL, fertilizer, raw materials, limestones, steel products, etc. And the project also facilitates the decongestion of the port, reduce sea freight, making coal imports cheaper, and boost the industrial economy in the hinterland of the port, leading to the creation of job opportunities. What is hinterland? Hinterland is the area of a country that away from the coast, from the bank of a large river, or from the main city. Okay, so what is Paradip Port? Okay, Paradip Port कहाँ पर हम देखेंगे and किसके द्वारा ये implement हुआ? Okay, so Paradip Port is a natural and deep water port on the east coast of India in Jagat Singh district of Odisha, and it is situated confluence of the Mahanadi River and the Bay of Bengal, and it is situated 210 nautical miles south of Calcutta, and the 260 nautical miles north of Vishakhapatnam. Okay, and the port is administered by the Paradip Port Trust, an autonomous corporation wholly owned by the Government of India. And you should note that the Jawaharlal Nehru and the Prime Minister of India laid the foundation stone of this Paradip Port on 3rd January 1962 near the confluence of river Mahanadi and the Bay of Bengal. The Port of Paradip is an autonomous body under the Major Port Trust Act of 1963, functioning under the Ministry of Shipping, and is administered by the Board of Trustees set up by the Government of India, headed by the Chairman. Okay, and the trustees of the trust board are nominated. Trustees of the trust board are nominated by the Government of India from the various user of ports such as shippers, ship owners, government departments, council, and also port labor. Okay. This is about the Paradip Port, which cabinets approve. Okay, then the third PIV is this will increase income of farmer as other feed stocks such as cereals, rice, wheat, barley, corn, and the sorghum, sugarcane and sugar beet to be used for the production of ethanol. Okay, फिर इस पे शुगर से किस तरीके से एथेनॉल में कन्वर्ट करते हैं उसके बारे में यहाँ पर बताया गया है कि किस तरीके से शुगर टू एथेनॉल कन्वर्ट करे एंड हाउ इट विल इंक्रीज द इनकम ऑफ द फार्मर. ओके, सो there is a surplus production of sugar in the country since sugar session from 2010 to 11. Expect the reduction due to the drought in sugar season of 2016 to 17. Okay, sugar production is likely to remain surplus in the country in the coming years due to the introduction of improved varieties of sugarcane. So excess of sugarcane and sugarcane or sugar to diversion of this sugar to ethanol is a correct way forward to deal with a surplus stock of sugar, and the diversion of excess sugar will help in stabilizing the domestic excess sugar prices and will also help sugar mills to get relieved from storage problems. Okay, government had fixed target of 10% blending of fuel grade ethanol with petrol by 2022 and 50% blending by 2026 and 20% blending by 2030. Okay, with the view to support sugar sector and in the interest of sugarcane farmers, the government has also allowed the production of ethanol from heavy molasses, sugarcane juice, sugar syrup, sugar, and has been fixing the remunerative X mill price of the ethanol derived from the B heavy molasses, and the ethanol derived from the sugarcane juice, sugar, and sugar syrup for the ethanol season. आप यहाँ से एक चीज नोट कर सकते हैं कि एथनॉल किन किन चीजों से बनता है. ओके, विच अलॉट द प्रोडक्शंस एंड किस तरीके से एथनॉल को प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं. ओके, for ethanol supply year 2021, government has now increased the X mill price of ethanol derived from a various feedstock. Okay, and note that to increase the production of fuel grade ethanol, government has also increasing the distilleries to produce the ethanol from maize rice available with the Food Corporation of India. Government is now planning to propane achievement of 20% blending target by the year of 2025 and onwards. Okay, government had fixed a target of 10% blending of ethanol into motor fuel by 2022 and 20% by 2030. Okay, and let us know about the ethanol blended petrol program. What is the aim of this program? Is aimed to promote the use of alternative and environmental friendly fuels implemented by the ministry or oil marketing companies. And note that the India is the third largest consumer of energy in the world after the China and the USA. Okay, so what is ethanol? Ethanol is an anhydrous ethyl alcohol and can be produced from the sugarcane, maize, wheat, and which are having a high starch content. Okay, in India, ethanol is mainly produced from the sugarcane molasses by the fermentation process, and the ethanol can be mixed with a gasoline to form a different blends. As the ethanol molecule contains oxygen, and it allows an engine to more completely combust the fuel and resulting in fewer emissions, thereby by reducing the occurrence of environment pollutions. Okay, ethanol blended program was launched in the 2003, and this program sought to promote the use of alternative and environmentally friendly fuel and to reduce the import dependency for energy requirement. Okay, ethanol is basically alcohol of 99% plus purity, which can used for blending with petrol and produced mainly from the molasses, which is a byproduct of sugar manufacture. What is the benefit of ethanol blending? Reduction in the import dependency, support to agriculture sector, environmental friendly fuel, and additional income to farmers. Okay, and you can read it from here, this diagram aiming for an eco boost. Okay, then the another PIV is that is the Northeast first ever specialized ginger processing plant in Meghalaya and is being revived. Okay, Dr. Jitendra Singh said that. Dr. Jitendra Singh said that the ginger processing plant, which is located in the northeast of India, was established around the year of 2004, but it remained non-functional for the many years. With the help of the Northeastern Regional Agriculture Market Corporation, has under now taking the responsibility of reviving it. Okay, so we will talk about here as ginger. Ginger is the family of Zingiberaceae. Okay, and it is an herbaceous perennial, and its rhizomes are used for the spices and the medicinal use. Okay, India is a leading producer of ginger in the world, and ginger is cultivated most of the state in India. However, the states are Karnataka, Odisha, Assam, Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, Gujarat, and these are together contribute about 65% to the country total production. Okay, ginger is a flowering plant and whose rhizomes or ginger root or ginger is widely used for spices or folk medicines. Okay, what is the climate and soil of the ginger? Ginger grows well in a warm and humid climate, and its cultivated from the sea level to an altitude of 1500 meter above the sea level. Ginger can be grown both under rain-fed or a irrigated condition. For the successful cultivation of the crop, a moderate rainfall at sowing time until the rhizomes sprout and fare heavy and well distributed soil during the growing period. Okay. जिंजर थ्राइव्स बेस्ट इन वेल जो जिंजर जो होते हैं वो अच्छे तरीके से स्प्राउट कब होते हैं वेल ड्रेन सॉइल लाइक with the drained soil like sand loamy, clay loam, red loamy, and the lateritic soil. Okay, these are the soil in which the ginger thrives at the best. Okay, two new species of the gingiber, commonly referred to as the gingiber, are discovered from the Nagaland by the scientists of Botanical Survey of India. The first one is the Gingiber paranensis, and the second one is Gingiber dema paranensis. Okay, so we will look the nutritional information of the ginger. Raw ginger is composed of 79% of water, 18% of the carbohydrate, 2% of the protein, 1% of the fat, and in 100 grams, okay, raw ginger supplies of 80% of calories and amount of B6, vitamin B6, and dietary minerals just such as magnesium, and having some of low nutrition too. Okay, let's see the top ginger producing countries. Nepal, India was the top producing country, accounting of 33% of the world total ginger production with 0.683 million tons, and the China followed in the second place with the 19%, and the Nepal was in the third place with the 0.235 million tons. Okay, then this is about the ginger. Okay, then the next PIV is the Dr. Harshvardhan revived the status of Kala Azar in 4 states of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, and the West Bengal. Okay, and he stated the Kala Azar, okay, which is known as the black fever, is the second largest parasitic killer in the world after the malaria, and resulted in a 95% fatality rate if the patient are not treated. Okay, Bihar, which traditionally has a large burden of Kala Azar, had achieved the elimination target in almost all the aspect 4 blocks located in the district of Siwan and the Saran. Jharkhand too had made significant progress both in the reduction of Kala Azar and the PKDL cases, as well as in the number of blocks reporting more than 1 cases per 10,000 populations. Okay, 1 lakh populations. Okay. Okay, Uttar Pradesh and the West Bengal have achieved their elimination target and need to be more vigilant and diligent to consolidate and sustain their gains, and they will earn the elimination certificate at the end of 3 years. Okay, यहाँ पर ये 10,000 है, sorry for 10 lakh, it's 10,000 population, 1 on the 10,000 population. Let's see the background of the Kala Azar. Kala Azar is an endemic to the Indian subcontinent in 119 districts in 4 countries, that is Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and Nepal, and this disease is the second largest parasitic killer in the world, and the visceral leishmaniasis, also known as the Kala Azar, black fever, or the dum-dum fever, okay, and is the most severe form of the leishmaniasis, and without proper diagnosis and treatment is associated with the high fatality rate. Okay, there are the 3 main form of the leishmaniasis. First one is visceral, which affect a multiple organ and is the most serious form of diseases. And the second form of the leishmaniasis is cutaneous, which causes a skin sores and is the most common form. And the third one is mucocutaneous, which causes a skin and the mucosal lesions. Okay, you can see here and get the more points about the Kala Azar. You can pause the video and you can read about the sign and symptoms and how it transmit. Okay. So how it transmit? It is caused by the parasitic called leishmania and is transmitted through the bites of sandflies. Okay, the south bank of Ganga river is the global epicenter of the Kala Azar. Note that. Okay, what is the symptom of this black fever? High fever, substantial weight loss, enlargement of liver, spleen, loss of appetite, and suppression of the bone marrow. What is the diagnosis of the Kala Azar? The first oral drug found to be effective for the treatment of Kala Azar is the multifotion. Okay, multifotion, and the most common method of the diagnosis Kala Azar is the dipstick testing. Okay, and what are the initiatives taken by the government to combat the black fever? WHO set a target of government of India to eliminate it by the 2017. A centrally sponsored Kala Azar Control Program, okay, has been launched for the endemic state in the year of 1990 and 1991, and the government is working together with the BMGF and the World Health Organization, National Central Disease Control (RMRI) to eliminate the Kala Azar from our India. Okay, on the monthly basis, this progress is monitored by the PMO and the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Okay, and this is about the black fever. Okay, so our next PIV is work on the remaining portion of USBRL project to be completed in the mission board. What is USBRL? Okay, USBRL is the Udhampur Srinagar Baramulla rail link. Okay, and it is a national project. It is a national project undertaken by the Indian Railway for the construction of broad gauge railway line through the Himalayas with the aim to connecting the Kashmir region with the rest of the country, and the all-weather, comfortable and convenient and the cost-effective mass transportation system will be catalyst for all overall development of the northernmost alpine region of this country. Okay, USBRL project include the world tallest arc bridge on the Chenab River, which is 359-meter high and 1350-meter long, and the Udhampur Srinagar Baramulla rail link project which we expected to complete by December 2022. Presently, 95% of the R4 of the Chenab Bridge, that one is a world tallest railway bridge is complete. Okay, so जो Chenab River है उसका 95% complete हो चुका है, and it is about to into 2022. Okay, and also note that the India first cable stayed railway bridge, Anji Khat Bridge, also is the main project under the USBRL, and it connects the Katra to Rasai in Jammu and Kashmir, and this bridge is being developed by the Konkan Railway Corporation Limited, and this bridge is a part of USBRL project. Okay, you can see here the project photos. Okay, so the next PIV is PM, Pradhan Mantri of our India, the Prime Minister of India, lay the foundation of Lighthouse project under the GHTC India on 1st January. Okay, so Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi, lay the foundation of Lighthouse project under the GHTC India, Global Housing Technology Challenge India, at a 6 site across the 6 states on 1st January 2021. Okay, and the Prime Minister will also announce the winner under the Affordable Sustainable Housing Accelerator ASHA program, and give out an annual award for excellence in implementation of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana urban mission. Okay, so what is Lighthouse project? Okay, Lighthouse project showcase the best of new age alternative global technology, material and process in the construction sector for the first time in the country at a large scale, and these are being constructed under the GSTC India, which envisages to provide an ecosystem for the adaptation of innovative technology in the housing construction sector in a holistic manner. So Lighthouse project किस लिए है? For a innovative technology in the housing construction sector in a holistic manner, and the Lighthouse project are being constructed at Indore, which is in Madhya Pradesh, Rajkot, Chennai, Ranchi, Agartala, okay, and the Lucknow. Okay, and they comprises about 1000 houses at each location along with the allied infrastructure facilities. Okay, then the PIV also talked about the ASHA India. What is it? ASHA is the full form of the ASHA is Affordable Sustainable Housing Accelerators India, and it's aimed to promote a domestic research and entrepreneurship by providing incubation and the acceleration support to potential future technologies. And under ASHA India initiative, the 5 ASHA India Center have been set up for providing incubation and the acceleration support. Okay, then another mission that PIB talked about is PMAY, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban Mission, which has been designed to achieve the vision of the Prime Minister vision of housing for all by 2022. In order to recognize the outstanding contribution by state, UTs, local bodies, beneficiaries, and the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, has introduced a annual award for excellence in the implementation of PMAY Urban Pradhan Mantri Awas Jan Yojana. Okay. Okay, so ये थी हमारी PIB. Sorry for the pronunciation. Okay, and if you like the video, then subscribe our channel, and if you want the PDF of this video, you can get it from our description box. Thank you.